You are Locked On Marlins Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fish fans? Welcome to your Locked On Marlins Postcast. My name is Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. And a big day for your Miami Marlins. We had a tough one yesterday. We admit that. It was 8-2. The Rockies pounded them. The Marlins came out different today, and they salvaged the split. They end up going 5-2 against the Rockies on the season, and that could be the difference as they sit a half game behind the Rockies, firmly entrenched by themselves in the basement. So they get the sweep here. They started the series a half game behind the Rockies. They end the series a half game behind the Rockies. For the worst record in the National League, no one's catching the White Sox for MLB. My name's Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. This is your Locked On Marlins Postcast. Quick programming note after I thank you profusely. Thank you so much for being here every day, making us your first listen, your first watch. We're free, available wherever you get your podcasts. And that means Spotify. That means Apple Music. That means iHeart. That means Stitcher. That means Podbean. That means any place you go. We are there with your Locked On Marlins Postcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And don't forget Locked On Sports Miami right here on this channel on YouTube. You got the Dolphins. You got the Canes. Just getting started football season. Of course, the Heat, Panthers all year long. So Locked On Marlins with Pete. Locked On Marlins Postcast with me all the way through the end of the season. Twins, Expos, end of the – did I just say Expos? Twins and Blue Jays. See, you live long enough, you start to mesh things together in your head. Okay, so there you have it there. All the way through with the Marlins. Now, this Saturday, something strange happening. There's a storm brewing in South Florida. The Miami Hurricanes. Mario Cristobal and the boys. 19 in the country, going to Gainesville. Feast on some gator meat in the swamp. 12:30 Eastern kickoff, about 3:30. Be here with your Locked On Canes postcast. Now, to get ready for that game all week long, Alex Donald with Locked On Canes right here. Locked On Dolphins with Kyle. The postcast start next week on Sunday after they play Jacksonville. And then the following Thursday, they play the Buffalo Bills. And nobody spirals and falls out of the playoffs like the Buffalo Bills. They can circle the wagons all they want. Okay, so there you have it. Today's show, by the way, your Locked On Marlins postcast with a big 12-8 win. Today's show on your Thursday is brought to you by, time is it? Game Time. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. I already said that, but it's so nice I got to say it twice. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use Locked On MLB. That's the code for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time on the Locked On Podcast Network. Big day for your Miami Marlins. How about Connor Norby at the top of the order? 2 for 4, 3 runs scored, an RBI in the middle of the double steal. I love this dude. He played third base today. I love Connor Norby. Sánchez, who had a really good series, they move him up to the 2-hole as the DH to get him an extra AB. Yeah, he goes 0 for 5 with 2 strikeouts and his average down to 238. It happens. Jake Berger, 2 for 5 with a couple of singles and 2 runs scored. How about that, right? So Jake Berger with a couple of singles. Not bad. In fact, Sánchez and Griffin Conine, both 0 for 5, the only Marlins starters without a hit today. Stowers powers, you see it on the sheet, on the rundown. 3 for 6, 4 RBIs. This dude was like 8 for 14-ish in the series. Don't quote me exactly. I'll have the number for you by the end of the show. Tearing it up. Stowers powers, baby. Stowers babies. Oh, behave. Stowers power is what I'm saying. I'm proud of myself for that one. Derek Hill, by the way, should be proud of himself much more than I should be. This dude went off today, 3 for 6 with 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. Derek Hill, another good catch in the outfield. He's on fire. He's been a great pickup for the Marlins. His second 2-homer game of his career. The first one came back on June 2nd. When he played for the Texas Rangers. And it's been a weird year for him. And he seems to have found a home with your Miami Marlins. And then you look at Lopez, the 7-8-9 boys. You see it on the rundown there. Lopez, 3 for 4. Brujan, 2 for 5. And Sánchez, 3 for 5. So 8 for 14 for those 3 hitters. And combined, they had 4 runs scored and just a couple of RBIs. But the 7-8-9 boys, Stowers and Hill, 4 and 5 in the lineup, 6 for 12 with 7 RBIs and 3 runs scored. You throw Berger in there, and they're 8 for 17. I mean, it's unbelievable how great they've been. How great they've been at times. And it's streaky, right? Especially with younger players. It's streaky, not as consistent, but a great day offensively for the Marlins, and they needed it because Valente Belloso, who's been fantastic lately, Belloso did not have a good day. Belloso did not have a good day. I told you yesterday, take the over. Take the Marlins in the over. Did I not tell you? Take the Marlins and the over today. I told you, Marlins and the over. Marlins and the over. And that's what it would have been yesterday. Well, no, yesterday was the under. They missed by a half run. But the over today, it was 11.5, and it's 20. Marlins in the over on a parlay today. You should be sending me something. You should have been on FanDuel. I mean, really, I should get a hit of that. I should get, like, what do we call it? We get a vig, get a little juice off that squeeze. You know what I'm saying? Why not? But here's the good news about the bullpen, right? Valente Belloso, who had been phenomenal. It was his 8th career start. He's given up 3 runs or less in almost every start until today. 6 earned runs, 7 hits, 4 innings. Denver Bees like that. You know what I'm saying? You go to Denver in that thin air. I'll never forget when I moved to Arizona from Florida, playing softball, A-League. I'm not a beer. I mean, look at me. I'm not a beer league guy. A-League softball, okay? Still, like, former major Division I players. Our left fielder was Clay Bellinger, former Yankees pitcher. Little kid used to run around playing with my son by the name of Cody Bellinger, who now plays for the Cubs. You might have known who he is. Won the World Series with the Dodgers, some big numbers in his career. Well, he and my son and a bunch of other little kids used to play, but we had some serious A-League softball. My point is, and this was my second run in Arizona. I moved to Arizona twice. The first time I moved there and the first time I hit a softball, it was the year 2000. I'm 28 years old, and I hit home runs in Florida when I was there, and I still will at 50 plus, but ripping the ball. But all of a sudden, you swing in Arizona as opposed to Florida, that ball goes 30, 40 feet further. Pop-ups become warning track fly balls. Warning track fly balls become second deck home runs in Colorado. And that just happens with certain types of pitchers. You get a lot of fly ball outs. You're going to have a really bad start in Colorado. A lot of times managers will skip, certain pitchers in the rotation or move things around because of the type of pitcher they are for Colorado. So bad game for Belloso. And then Declan Cronin comes in an inning and 2/3. He gives up 2 earned runs on 3 hits. So you're talking 10 hits, 8 runs. 8 runs on 10 hits in 5 2/3 innings to start the game. And at that point in time, the Marlins were up 8-6. Tells you what kind of game it was, right? So you're playing from ahead. You don't want your pitchers to get ripped like that. You know what I'm saying? So Belloso and Cronin get ripped. And then, right, Tinoco comes in. Jesus Tinoco, what a godsend he's been for this team. He had 1 bad outing. Other than that, he's been killing it for the Marlins. Fauché came on too. No save situation in a 4-run game. Tinoco got the win. Listen to this steadying force that he was today, Jesus Tinoco. 2 1/3, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts. That's his line. No hits, no runs. And remember, he's coming into a game with 2 outs in the 6th inning in a very crucial spot, and he gets the job done. And then he pitches the next 2 innings scoreless. He's been phenomenal. Tinoco has been phenomenal. 29-year-old Venezuelan, 6'4". I mean, his Marlins appearances, he gave up 2 earned runs in an inning and a third against Arizona in a 10-8 loss on Wednesday. And that was a bad outing. Everybody's entitled to one. Other than that, August 13th, August 18th, August 20th, and August 25th. No runs. Only 1 hit in all those outings combined. Great job by Jesus Tinoco. He has been a huge pickup for this team. Enormous. And I gave the front office and the ownership, I gave them a lot of crap yesterday here on the show, and deservedly so. They don't put out a winning product year in and year out. There's nobody in the stands. They don't deserve to have anybody in the stands. The ownership group, not the players. They're very clear about that. The players are busting it. They're giving you everything they have. And I talked about some of these players might not even be major league caliber players, and that's what the Marlins are doing. So if they can't afford to put out a major league product in a city like Miami, that's one of the top cities, if not the top city in America right now, then no ownership group's been able to connect with the fan base in the international melting pot of Central and South America, where the number 2 game behind soccer is baseball. But they have never been able to connect with this fan base. That's my point. But it's never about the players, man. The players are playing hard. Just watch Connor Norby out there. Go get a ticket now to see Connor Norby. This dude is everything that's right with Major League Baseball. He's taking the extra bases. He's in the middle of everything. The action on the bases in the field. He's playing different positions. He's hitting. Leadoff spot. Doesn't matter where you put him. He's a gamer. He's a gamer. You love him. Derek Hill keeps on going location to location. Send me location. Nobody knows where Derek Hill is. He's on so many teams. He's finding a home slowly but surely with the Marlins. And there might be some Josh Bell there where he's a 200 hitter next year and he's gonzo. And look, Chisholm and Bell and DLC, these guys are not world beaters. They weren't hitting 350. Luis Ariz was, and Tim Anderson, a former batting champ, was DFA'd. So you look at their opening day roster, you look at the players they've gotten rid of throughout the course of this year, and it's just been a nightmare for the Marlins. But you're going to have days like today, and it looks like a Little League game. It looks like a high school game. 12-8 should never be the score of a Major League game. There should never be 30 hits in a Major League Baseball game. That is a travesty. Cy Young's rolling over in his grave right now. 30 hits in a baseball game, a Major League Baseball game. 30 hits. 30. You can get somebody out once in a while. It's not against the law to do that. Anyway, you're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease, at Jim Grease _ on social media. 12-8, King of the Hill, Derek Hill, 2 home runs for Miami. Stowers powers 3 for 6, mashing all day long. 7, 8, 9 boys getting it done offensively. Tinoco could throw him in there too with the bullpen. Great job for Miami holding it down after Beozo got ripped and Cronin got ripped. It was Tinoco who came in and steadied that Denver altitude ship for Miami. They're a half game into the basement. They're a half game in. Should I say half game out? What are they out of? They're in the basement. They're a half game from being out of the basement. You'd say a half game out of first place, half game out of the playoff race. But a half game out of second to last? No, they're a half game in the basement, right? We need to change the vernacular. On to San Francisco. We are going to San Francisco. Well, we're not. They are. We'll talk about that and a lot more on the other side. Locked On Marlins postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. BRB. And that's because, even though I'm still here, the magic. I'm talking about Liquid IV. I'm extra hydrated today, guys. You remember last night I was talking about how I didn't do my Liquid IV? I was hanging a little bit. It's a little bit of that extra cotton mouth, and you know what I'm saying? So, and not the kind I used to get at the University of Miami 30 years ago. Not that kind of cotton mouth. The kind that you get when you do not hydrate. And that was me yesterday, but not today, baby. You know why? Because I got back to my senses today. They came back to me and I tore it. I poured it and I lived more. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick, 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. And you know I could only be talking about Liquid IV. Everybody loves cold treats during baseball games, but what about multi-use? What about being smart? What about life hacks? What about 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1 hydration compared to just water alone? What about electrolytes, essential vitamins, clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, Liquid IV? You add it to your water. Tear, pour, live more. Tear, pour, live more. Expand your hydration. Indulge in your hydration. That's what I do every day, and it's an embarrassment of riches for me right now. We got Popsicle Firecracker, my favorite summertime flavor, right? Tear, pour, live more. Boom. Hydrate. It's a festive blend. Your mouth is on fire, not literally on fire, but exploding with flavor. Citrus-fueled lemon, lime, tart cherry, and raspberry in one flavor. It will drive you insane. And if you don't like that flavor, you can find any flavor you want on their website, from acai berry, lemon lime, pina colada. You don't need to get caught in the rain and drink the rain because you're hydrated from Liquid IV. Tear, pour, live more. 1 stick, 16 ounces of water. Way better than just water alone. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. I said it. 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. No more thirsty summers. When you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV, get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. And our show today is also powered by, oh yeah. Time is it? What time is it? It is Game Time. I'm trying to make the sound of a watch. It's not working. I'm going to stop, I promise, because I have to tell you about Game Time. It's one of the greatest apps you could ever have on your phone. And I have some good ones, but Game Time right up there at the top. You know why? Because I love going to live sporting events, and I'm spoiled, man. I tell my kids all the time, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media. We didn't even have HDTV. What did you do, Dad? We didn't go to Game Time. We bought our tickets in advance. They got mailed to our house, or we had to go to the window the day of and buy them. Do you guys remember that? And you had them in the envelope. And if they got mailed to your house, they could have gotten lost. And you had them in an envelope. You had to keep them at your house for all the time and then not lose them on the way. It was like, you want to just handcuff the briefcase to yourself with those tickets. You don't have to do it anymore. It's a beautiful world we live in, and you can do it in 5G. It's unreal. Game Time is just the app that you need for sporting events, comedy shows, concerts, whatever you want to do, wherever you want to go that involves a ticket. You get it right there on Game Time. They have all the features in the world that you could ever imagine. I'm going to touch on those in just a minute. But first things first, I have to let you know about Game Time Picks. That's right. Game Time Picks makes getting tickets for your favorite events even easier. Game Time Picks, what does it do? It filters out the fluff. It's only going to show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. It does it for you. I love AI, Allen Iverson too, but artificial intelligence, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, 50% off Labor Day offer for Diamondbacks Dodgers. Think about that, 50% off for things like that. That's the type of deal you're going to find with Game Time Picks, right? The super deal is amazing. The Dodgers and Diamondbacks fighting it out in the NL West, two of the best and hottest teams in baseball. 50% off is a big number. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine lives in Arizona, and he's taking a date to that game on Friday night. They're $500 a piece, those seats. 50% off. What time is it? That's what I thought. Game Time, all right? It's an incredible deal. Absolute incredible deal. You get Game Time Picks. Curation makes it easier to save on sports. Yeah. Concerts, comedy, theater, etc., all in pricing. You toggle that feature, shows you everything up front, no surprise fees at the end, like, how is it triple what you said it was going to be? Not going to happen at Game Time. Seat views, panoramic, every seat in the place. Know what you're going to see before you buy it, so you'll know when you get to that seat exactly what your view is going to be. You get the lowest price guarantee, or they're going to credit you 110% of the difference just because they love you, and they get it, all right? And you also get Game Time's ticket coverage, which is phenomenal. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So what are you going to do? You're going to do what I did. You're going to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. No more guesswork with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase at Game Time. What time is it? Game Time. I want to remind you one more time, and somehow the midliner got stuck. There it is. Okay, thank you for making Locked On Marlins POSTCAST your first listen and watch today. For your second listen or watch, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast. Host Paul Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, is here daily to provide national expertise with his trademark humor to help you get ready for the MLB playoffs here in the dog days of summer, and they are the dog days. At least there's not a hurricane this week. Prepare for there is in Gainesville, though. Oh, the Gators are going down. Anyway, prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. And just finishing up here on your Thursday, segment number 2. And we are having a great time on the Locked On Podcast Network. The Marlins with a big, big win again today. And they end up with a huge performance offensively. One of their best offensive performances of the season. You see the rundown over there. And, 12-8, the final, King of the Hill. Oh, I'll tell you, I said we scored 12 runs today, boys. That was Hank Hill. I don't know if you guys know that or not. I'm just all over the place. Stowers Powers, huge game today for Stowers. Monster game today for him. The 7, 8, 9 boys, 9 for 14. When you get that kind of production from the 7, 8, 9 hitters in your order, you're not going to lose very many games. You're not. And they just haven't gotten that this year. But today was a very encouraging game. You're starting to learn more about Hill and Stowers. And I love Norby. Would I love to have Luis Arise still? Would I have loved to see Tim Anderson get it going and have those two guys at the top both hitting over 300, 330, 320? Yeah. with Berger and Bell and DLC and all those guys raking behind them, driving in runs. It didn't work out that way. Jazz Chisholm hit cleanup opening day. It didn't work out. They all hit 220, 230, 240. They did not drive in the runs. They didn't do their jobs. It didn't happen. They're all gone. They're all gone. And I read the opening day lineup to you 2 days ago here on this show. They're all gone. So now what you're doing is you're getting a hodgepodge of frequent flyer mile travelers. And people talk about the Padres giving up 12 of their top 15 prospects. None of them were in the top 100. And if they had been in the top 100, they had fallen out. So the Marlins got back prospects top prospects who aren't exactly top prospects anymore, if you know what I'm saying. And so that's a problem. That's a major problem. That is a major, major problem. There we go. I think that color's better. What do you guys think? What do you think? I don't know. We'll try. All right, we'll leave that on there. But that's been the problem. And now that you have all these guys coming in, and Tinoco's one of them. He's been great. Hill's one of them. Stowers one of them. Norby one of them. Dane Myers has been hurt. Now, you know what I mean? Where did Dane Myers go, actually? And where is Xavier Edwards? Where is Xavier Edwards? You know, like he got hurt a few days ago. Dane Myers he's still on the Marlins. I just haven't heard anything about him in a long time. And where's the injury report on Myers? Dane Myers, where are you at? Dane. All right. 60-day. He's on the 60-day. That's what I thought. Yeah. He's on the 60-day. It was weird the way that he got ejected, and he hurt himself like showing anger in the dugout after, something didn't go his way on the field. So that's not something that's going to endear you to anybody in any organization when you're doing stuff like that. And then Xavier Edwards, expected to go on IL. So Xavier Edwards, and I want to talk about him. We're going to talk about the future in the next segment. We're going to talk about what they have coming, the players they got back in these trades. I know Pete's been doing some of that on Locked On Marlins, but it's really interesting, right? And you've traded a lot of players who make money. And when you're the Marlins, usually when you're doing that, you're bringing back prospects who don't make a lot of money. It's not like NBA or NFL where they have to match for the salary cap. You very rarely see trades in the NFL for that reason, right? So it's hard to trade because the money has to match. And oftentimes you have to bring in a third team. Baseball's not like that because there's no, you know what I mean? So there's no cap. There's no, so it's not like that. There's no guarantee. There's no, what am I trying to say? You don't have to make the money match in Major League Baseball. You just don't. And if teams are willing to pay the penalties and things like that, they can just keep adding. So you want to get that haul back of the prospects. And the Marlins, 49 and 84. Xavier Edwards was one of those guys. He looks to be a big part of their future plans, and it just is looking ahead to next year. 21 stolen bases in 46 games, 345 average, second to only Bobby Witt Jr., who's an MVP candidate with the Royals. And that's among players with at least 200 plate appearances, right? So the trade that brought him over, JT Chargois, right? It's been a really nice return for the Marlins. And Edwards is out right now with the injury. But, it's interesting. It's very, very interesting. And he's very similar to Luis Ariz, who was traded to San Diego, right? You're going to, the bat-to-ball ability that Ariz has, Edwards has that. You know what I mean? If he can do it for a whole season, bat speed, barrel rate, exit velo, all of them are way up there for Edwards. Of all the players they've had this year and all the kids that you're taking a look at, I think Edwards is huge for them future moving forward. I like Dane Myers a lot moving forward as long as he doesn't hurt himself because he's mad that he made an out anymore, things like that. So they have a lot of opportunities and a lot of things coming their way that are awesome. You're watching Locked On Marlins Postcast. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. 12-8. They beat Colorado. We're going to look at the future even more when we come back. On to San Francisco, the city by the bay. No, they're not the city by the bay. We are. Miami's the real city by the bay. Bay versus Bay. Let's go. San Francisco coming up next. Locked On Marlins Postcast. Jim Greasehaber, call me Grease. And it is my time to tell you about one of my favorite places to go. But you know what? If you haven't heard about it now, I don't know where you've been. It's all the time here on the show. You everydayers must be getting tired of hearing it if you haven't taken action yet. But if you have, you would never get tired of hearing that Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. And you would never get tired of hearing that Prize Picks has over 5 million active members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or pick less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in, trickle in, dive in, jump in, fly in, parachute in. However you want to see those winnings come in. Usually they'll just add them to your bank account through your phone. It's smartphone. You know how that goes. Anyway, you watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends. Become part of the Prize Picks community today. 5 million plus. Remember, it's a strong community. You can now win up to 100 times your money. People are doing it all day, every day on Prize Picks. With as little as 4 correct picks, you can turn $10 into $1,000. Voila. Just like that. Voila. We'll put a little extra voom into it. Sign up today. You get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to get the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. How about that? What in life is guaranteed? That is. How about Caleb Williams? You like him with the Chicago Bears? 1 Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in September. Only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. Even a Bears quarterback will throw for 1 yard. 4 weeks of free W's. 4 W's with Caleb, right? What about Tyreek Hill? Reek, the cheetah, the dolphin. They play the Jags, then the Bills. 2 games in 5 days. You think Tyreek Hill's going to get more than 90.5 yards receiving in week 1? You can put that on there. Aaron Jones run for more than 66.5. Cook up the hot takes with your friends and win real money this football season with your crew and running your game on Prize Picks. The best way to make real money this football season is Prize Picks. It's available in more than 30 states across the country. Cali, Texas, Georgia. Oh, Ray Charles would love that. Actually, he probably wouldn't have because it was terrible. But I will tell you this. This is not terrible. This is where the magic happens. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Get $50 instantly when you play 5. 10x. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks. You get $50 right away when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. There we go. All right. Thank you for making Locked On Marlins Postcast your first listen, your first watch today. Now, go and check out Locked On MLB with Sully. He's got you covered every single day. You're going to find out that the link is in the description, so you don't even need to search. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. That's all there is, Fish fans. There is no more. But before we get out of here, we're going to look at tomorrow's game. Almost forgot for a second there, but how could you forget coming off a day like today at San Francisco, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 30th, 31st, and 1st as we turn into the final month of the season. Wake me up when September ends, because the season will be over and we can look ahead to 2025. So you got a 10:15, a 9:05, and a 4:05 start in San Francisco. Of course, those are all East Coast times. So 10:15, 9:05, and 4:05, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Canes Gators on Saturday, 12:30 Eastern. Right after that, we'll have your Locked On Canes postcast. Go to Locked On Canes podcast right now to get ready for that game with Alex Donald. He's great. Kyle with Locked On Dolphins getting you ready for the season. I'll have the first Dolphins postcast coming up. Opening weekend, which is a week from Sunday. They play the Jags in the early game, and then the following Thursday, they host the Buffalo Bills. Tua against Josh Allen, 5 days in to the NFL's regular season. 7 if you count the Chiefs-Ravens game on Thursday night to open it up in KC. Oler and Snell will be the pitching matchup tomorrow. I love you. Tomorrow. The total is 7.5, plus 105 on the over, minus 125 on the under. Plus 215 for Miami, minus 265 for San Francisco. The Giants 67-68, 10 games over 500 at home, 38-28. Marlins 49-85, 24-41 on the road. Adam Oler and Blake Snell, the pitching matchup. Oler 1-1 with a 5.23 for the Marlins. Snell 2-3, 3.76 for the Gigantes. And the Giants are a 79.7% win predictor for whatever that is worth. And it'll be about 67 degrees at first pitch. It'll be 7:15 in San Francisco. Again, minus 265 for San Francisco, plus 215 for Miami. And that's a little different. San Francisco opened as a little, slightly less of a favorite. But as often happens when teams play the Marlins, that line moves more in their direction. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. That's going to do it for us today with your Locked On Marlins postcast. 12-8 the final. They out-hit them 18-12. No errors for the Marlins after 4 yesterday. Tinoco gets the win. Bradley Blaylock gets the loss. Stowers with 3 hits and a bunch of RBIs. Derek Hill, 2 homers. Big game for the 7-8-9 boys, and it is on to San Francisco. You're starting to see the players that have come back from these trades and the production you're getting. You're starting to see Stowers and Norby and all these guys, Derek Hill, who weren't here. They are the guys who are coming through for you now. Little help from Berger today. Sánchez had a nice series. Stowers was dope all series long. Rodgers and Doyle had big games for the Rockies. Rodgers, 2 homers, Doyle with a homer, but the Marlins pouring it on today. They split the series with Colorado 2 games apiece. The season series won 5-2, and in the standings, which really matter right now. And by the way, the Giants lead the Marlins 2-1 in the season series, with that one picking back up this week in San Fran. But with the Marlins right now sitting here at 49-85, they're exactly where they were when the series started. 1/2 game behind the Rockies, alone in the basement of the National League. Thank God for the White Sox. You don't want to know their record. Well, you do as a Marlins fan. They barely have 30 wins. 31, I think, to be exact. 31 and 104. What does the letter E mean? You know how usually it'll see a Z or a Y like you clinched? What is eliminated. There you go. They're already eliminated. They've been eliminated from playoff contention. How are the Marlins not eliminated? Because they're only 21 games back. And they're, okay, all right. So they're not eliminated yet. They could conceivably go 30-0, and someone else could go 0-30. But that's just what it is. All right, the Giants coming up next. Again, it's 10:15 first pitch tomorrow night. It's a late game. Those West Coast games. So hit the bar, hit the club, hit the restaurant, go out with your lady, your man, whatever it is, your partner, your significant other, whatever you're doing in South Florida on a Friday night. Come home late, chill, pop open a cold one, tear, pour, live more, liquid IV, just saying, and watch the Marlins and the Giants. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you day in and day out. You everydayers, we love you. Football season is here, baby, and you have been watching your Locked On Marlins postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network with me, Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. 12-8 Marlins. They beat the Rockies in Colorado. On to San Francisco. We'll be here tomorrow night with your Locked On Marlins postcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Keep your game tight and your mind right, Fish fans. We are out.